Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Plat Hammond player. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. So here we have a Plat Hammond on console. Okay, so we're taking the outside cliffside here. You've already got a pick on them, so you're going to hard engage. Really? Why? Okay, so here we are. You go through here. I'm with you so far. But why did you let go? Like, this is the sort of thing where you look at this and go, yeah, you unfortunately, with this stair setup, with how early you went, you didn't really have the option to do the roll through then slam, but the roll through then slam is pretty high on our list. You tethered early, so you didn't really have that option. If you tethered a little bit later, you would have had the option to do a little more in terms of hit them with the roll through and with your slam. So you want to be like, hey, it's tough. Let's get out my epic pen. Get out the epic pen. It's tough, but we want to tether a little bit later here so that we're on the tether. We get to roll through, and we might not get to roll through all of them, but we can roll through, say, just barely tap that, and we're still holding on. We're still holding on to our tether, so it forces us up, and we try to connect with our ball so that we get some connect damage from rolling, and then as soon as we're lifted even a little off the ground, or we might want to let ourselves be lifted a little more off the ground, we can then let go of our tether and then hit our slam. Might we get canceled out by the flashbang? Yeah, we absolutely might. But we can see they're already down their Discord orb. So we're not super worried about them. All they've really got to mess with us is flash, rock, and halt. And yes, that's still a lot, but you've still got your adaptive shield. You're going to get that adaptive shield off, even if they hit you with a stun before you get the first one off. Like, you're going to get this adaptive shield off. We're not too worried. I'm surprised that we didn't try to get the pile drive. And I also, again, we'd have liked this pile drive because it just gives our team that's set up back here, our Echo and such, more ability to go, oh, well, we'll just hit them as they're popped up over this. So we would like to go for, what's sometimes called the boop and scoop, where we go, hey there, boom, and then slam. And it's hard. It's hard because you're going up a ramp, which makes it like different than what you'd be used to. But you just had to grapple a little later. You still could have rolled at least into the Orisa, hit her with that, and then still hit her and other people with the slam. But that's okay. Let's keep going. It's fine. Double back, double back. I don't know that. No. That's a feed. You're out. Wait a second, half a second even, double back. Immediately turn around. They're thinking, hey, you're going to come back through this way. They're ready for that. You just want to go back this way and potentially be going, hey, is there a mega I can get? And the answer is no, but I'm not convinced that you know that. Maybe you do. But we don't want to hard engage again with this much health. We don't. You don't have adaptive shield. You don't have health. You're probably feeling the desire to hard engage because you still have your pile drive, so you feel like you can still get value, and that's because you didn't use your pile drive the previous time. Again, we would sort of like to link up our pile drive and our pile drive and our adaptive shield use, because they're both a bit longer cooldowns. We don't really want to go in for a hard engage with 200 or even 300 health and no adaptive shield available. It's just not very good. If we could find someone to play with at the edges, we might consider it, but honestly, probably not even then. You're done here. Get your health back. You've still got less than 300. And like, this is good from the sense of, hey, my team's in, that's helpful, but you're still pretty far out on your adaptive shield and less than half health. Like, this is still the territory of, oops, I hope you don't get chewed up by a flash, a fan, a rock. They can't all focus on you, but they can put some effort into you, and it won't take much to delete you, and 300 health isn't that much with a hitbox this big. Missed the rock, so you're fine. Oh, so you're still not fine. Okay. Yeah. Again, the team is more distracted. You do more for your team by being alive and the opposing team being aware you're alive than going in. So you going in and pile driving, being like, yeah, I did up to 100 damage. Not actually that, but we'll call it like you did 70 damage to one person and maybe 50 to another. Yeah, I did this damage. That's worth it. That's worth the extra life that I had. No, it's not. Like, the enemy's having to mentally remember that you still exist and you could come back at any time with very little health, with more health. Like, you being alive and them having to sort of mentally expend effort tracking, wait, there's a ball here somewhere, even if they're not doing a very good job of it, even if they don't realize that they're paying some attention to that, you being out and alive is better than you being in and eliminated. And that's something you have to understand as a tank player, but as a dive tank player, as an Overwatch player, especially as a dive tank player, where you being alive and out is more valuable than you being eliminated and in, if your team's already been able to initiate properly in many situations. Like, it's generally not worth it to go, hey, let me, like, sometimes you have to go hard to get that initial engage to happen for your team. But after that's happened, your team clearly got in, your team got the advantage. If you can find health packs and get back in, if you can find ways to pick at the edge of the fight safely, great, do those things. But if you get eliminated, that's like one less weight on the opposing team's mind. They don't have to think about you anymore. You're back in spawn for 10 seconds. There's travel time. They can just be like, that's one less condition for me to think about for 15 seconds. This game is so much easier now. Whereas if you're alive and out, well, you always have the option of re-entering the fight, even if you wouldn't have very much health to spend. And as time goes on, well, you might have more health. You might have found stuff. It's way more for them to think about. It's pressure. You being alive is pressure. Hey, Blah.
Executing flight maneuvers.
Do you know what you're rolling out onto? Yeah, that wasn't good. You didn't scout, you just tried to go straight into stage dive. You're a dive hero. The 3 steps to a real dive are scout, stage, dive. You have done no scouting. Maybe your team is calling exactly where targets are for you, but I somehow doubt it because you immediately went into, this is like part of your staging, part of your dive right here, like, hey, I'm taking this flank that I can then dive from. Except that you didn't actually know where the opponents were. You didn't know where your team was relative to them. The reason this doesn't work is because I don't think you had any information before you came into this fight. We have to scout. We have to get some information before we do this. You could have come here and just tried to stall point, but that's not what you're doing. And again, the only reason your team is sort of losing this fight in the first place after your Echo got the early pick for you is really not the only reason, but a big reason is because you went and got yourself eliminated trying to re-engage too hard when you'd already done what you needed to continue the phase of the fight. Hey, Malky. Malky says, hardest working Overwatch YouTuber and best coach. Thank you. Thank you. Blah. Wow, they're all on high ground above the point. You should have been going through his head when he was spinning for the slam. Yeah, it should have. And again, we just did this big hard engage that used all of our cooldowns that didn't do anything. Like, the most that this accomplished is it sort of baited a couple of them to come in closer to get you. That's not amazing. That is not amazing at all. And now you're not going to be able to stall this. You're not going to be able, and you could have stalled this much more efficiently with their health if stall was your game, nor are you going to be able to help your team that is almost now ready to properly engage. You're not going to be able to engage with them either because you're going to be finding health packs for at least 8 seconds now. Oh, console controls. Oh boy. Okay. Sure. I would have definitely continued after the Ashe here. Like, I wanted better opening on your Ashe, but you absolutely have the ability, you have your tools to go, hey, I'm going to grapple onto this as I roll past to swing myself up and slam her from behind. Like, that's what we want to do because we don't want her. She's just going to do too much work if she's up here threatening the point with her long sight line, her scope, all that. She's already been softened up a bit. And with your 300 health, I would way rather tackle a lone target than go heavy slam into the group there. And that doesn't mean that you'll necessarily eliminate her, but you can perhaps knock her back off the high ground. Pester her enough, maybe not physically knock her, but pester her enough that she leaves. That was never going to work. And again, you're constantly going to have to be looking for health packs here because you spent so much health so poorly at the start. You never really got enough health back to justify coming in for real, so you have to immediately go for this health back after doing one thing, and not even one terribly valuable thing. Yeah, Temporal has too much content. What do you mean too much? No such thing. He has just the right amount. No needs to stop or cut back on content. Thank you, Blob. I mean, I could do less content and try to branch out more in what we're doing and spend more time doing less things differently. Like, we could go that route, but what fun would that be? Okay. So at least you tried to scout there, but that was obviously way too expensive to scout. Like, cool rollout. In all seriousness, it's good that you know how to do this. It's good that you had that measured to be able to do this. You hit this, you didn't go too wide and hit this and stop. You managed to sort of keep this just right and roll across it without losing momentum. Come out here with your fireball, and you're going to hit what is a cool pile drive. Except your team has no idea that you're doing this, so they're back here thinking, are we rotating this way? Are we doing this? Did you call this in voice comms? Did you call this in voice comms? Did you wait until it made sense and your team looked like they were ready, like your team was starting to rotate in this way? You either have to call for your team that you're pushing at a time when you know they're able to push, or, I know you're the initiation tank, but you still have to do this, you have to see them starting to walk in like this, and then you have to use that as your cue to actually press the go button to make them slam the go button. You want to be like, hey, they're already heading in, so I'm going to do this, or you have to physically call the initiation for them when they do it. You can't just do this and then be upset when they're not in there. I know it's not fair. They should be watching you. You're the tank. I know that's what it feels like. But they don't know this is happening. Reaper's going to try to take advantage of your initiation, but he's not quite close enough. And everyone else is tucked back here having no idea that you're doing this. No idea that you're doing this. So it's going to be a feed. Could have been a good initiation, but it's going to be a feed. It's okay, Zach, so you can catch up on it slowly. You can catch up on it slowly. There's lots of things to watch there. Okay, so you're jumping right back into this fight. But again, you're jumping right back into this fight when you're down people. And you could hear that, hey, wait, there's ults going. There's a Transcendence and a Supercharger going. Yes, we have a Flux going, but there's ults going. I don't want this fight. This fight is over. They're only at 50% cap. Let's reset and take a fresh fight, not come in here and feed them another 600 ult charge. That would be great. No! Why did you not go for that faster? You have Tether already. There, he's already given you the opportunity. You've already got the opportunity to tether this. Why are you shooting rather than trying to get the Zen knockoff? Zen's going to realize his mistake any instant. Oh my goodness, that boop was so there. So there. And you tried to go too wide with your swing. You could have actually gone in more of a straight line. How do I want to show you this? Boom. You can tether onto the wall. You can tether onto the wall and just go straight at him. You don't have to do the arc thing that you do. You can actually go straight at him. And it's going to be tough, but you will, with the tether there, get your boop just in time before you hit him, and then he'll go flying if he hasn't reacted in time. And you even have a little bit of ability to bring it in, not that far in, but that far in, and go like that and still potentially get him like that. So that's what we'd have liked to do, but that's just recognizing the micro. Yeah, that was almost like we're going to scoop him back in. We don't want to do that. We want him off the edge. That's not where we reload. We would have very much preferred to go, oh, wait, I'm reloading? I'm not actually going to reload in your face. I'm going to go back into ball form, and I'll go roll over to here, and maybe I'll roll on and off the point, or maybe I'll use the next tether when it's up, and I'll just wait for my reload to happen in ball form. I'm not going to reload in their face. That's not happening. Yeah, you're struggling with this. So you can go like that. You can't really let go of this one. Like that tether, if Zen was your purpose here, you couldn't really have tethered where you did. You needed to tether more like over here-ish, less over here-ish, because you obviously can't wrap appropriately. And if you just let go of your fireball and go straight, you risk going off. So like, you needed to tether here, where you could go at Zen and then still have your tether and just never let go of your tether. So you can knock him off and be safe. But that's okay. That's okay. Maybe you weren't tethering to come over here. You just then saw the Zen while you were over here. Better. Okay, that's the first moment of real tracking we've seen. Followed by something very not real tracking. Okay.
Moving up. Thanks.
Let them up.
Okay. Don't fight him. Leave. You did not want to fight that hog alone. You want to keep leaving, and you don't want to do this reload in robot form either. Like, you had all the time in the world to go, oh, I don't have ammo, I'll just leave and I'll keep dodging until my reload auto-completes in ball form, and then I'll fight. And you actually had team presence over here too, so the ball chasing you in here wasn't in his, or the hog chasing you in here wasn't in his favor, at least not until the McCree did all that. Okay. Is your team ready? Is it? Is it? You're at 88%. You can wait a little bit. You're not going to fully be able to wait until your Reaper is back, but you can wait until your Reaper is closer to back, so that when you take this fight, it's a 5v6 for less time. The Reaper is 3 seconds from the fight, as opposed to 14 seconds from the fight.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Tech's not as good that time. That doesn't even reach. Yeah. Oh boy. And then you don't even get closer to him before you pop the shield. So you only got 100 from that, whereas you're almost certainly going to continue moving towards this Zen as you shoot at him, and I bet you could get a 200 shield if while fighting him, during the fight, instead of popping it immediately for the 100. Yeah. Flux plus minefield is still pretty good. You can't win. You can't win. Not on her hacked health back. Good. Nice. There you go.
Heroes never die.
Okay, brought that back. Okay, there's more work that we're going to have to do. But the biggest things for you to think about so far, and we will perhaps move away from these as other things show up, or maybe we'll double down on these. But coming out of this round, your engagement timing, you either need to call your engagements for your team if people are in voice, and you call these when you can see your team is ready, or because you're engaging from different angles as your team, what you end up having to do is you end up having to see not only is your team like staged really close, ready to dive, like they're at the angles that they could open to go in, but sometimes even, depending on the aggression level of your team, you might want to wait until your team is already starting to walk in. They're starting the last bit of the rotation. They might not be in a brawl, but they're starting the last bit. They're starting to push without you almost. And then you go in and you hit hard as your team is doing the final bit of the rotation to go in. So you can either call it, you can actually pre-call it to tell them to go in just before you go and then you go, or you can watch them go and then go yourself. It's not all about actually being the leader as the main tank sometimes. You just need to, like, you should be the first one in, yes, but they might start the rotation. So if your team isn't playing to your tempo, you need to play to theirs. But in general, you should have this skill to get your engagement timings right. That's the first thing. The second thing that we're going to have is you can't re-enter these fights without your cooldowns. Please stop it. It's better to stay alive outside of the fight and like poke at the edge with your little robot form weapons, even at mid-range, than it is to go back into a fight with no health, no cooldowns, and get sent back to spawn. And then the third thing so far would be, hey, please stop walking around in ball form or in robot form trying to reload. Actually, if you need to reload, go into ball form. You should not be reloading in robot form. Go into ball form and go away. Hide. Get behind cover. Hit a roll through on someone. Do something in ball form, even if that something is just running away back, rotating through cover, circling, playing ring around the rosy until your ammo reloads. Those are the first three things. We could obviously talk about your tracking because there was problems there. We could talk about a little bit more of your tether control for some of these boops, but I'm not going to overwhelm you. This is just me sort of, stream of conscious, like, hey, these are thoughts that are things that you could use that could be what we work on. We will narrow it down as this keeps going. Okay. Catching back up on chat. Just kidding. I like it. That's why I love to watch this channel. I watch some others, but they are posting one coaching session per week or less. This is great learning. Yeah, well, we're trying to ramp up. We're not trying to ramp up the volume. I think we have a fine volume. We're just trying to keep growing, keep ramping, all that stuff. And that means we've got to have a good content library there for people to watch. Blah likes how comprehensive my reviews are, very interactive compared to other people, though his paid sessions are a lot more focused with the person. Yeah, we try to have both. Question about Zen, is it worth it to ult to clear out the minefield with trans? Not by itself, no. It's not by itself worth it to ult to clear out trans, or to use trans to clear out minefield, but that doesn't mean that you can't get other value from it. So if they're hard diving your team and they drop a minefield on you, you might trans because they dropped a minefield on your team, but they're also hard diving that minefield. So now you're transing and potentially clearing the minefield and protecting your team from the dive / enabling your team to brawl while it happens. Minefields really aren't that hard to clear if you don't have pressure on you. But if there's a minefield and pressure on you, trans can answer both, and that's perfectly fine. Temporal's been marketing the fact he records in front of a live studio audience. Do I need to market that harder? Do I need to market Temporal coaching is recorded in front of a live studio audience? And then do I need to insert a bunch of laugh track stuff to undercut that statement? Is that what I need to do? Press it to clear it. For example, if it's on point and you fear that teammates will go in it, no. If your teammates are going to get eliminated in it just because it's there, that's their problem. And you go, I can't save you. If your teammates are going to get eliminated in it because they're also being chased around by a monkey and they're discorded, absolutely. You can go, hey, I'm transcendencing to save you from the minefield plus the dive, to save you from the minefield plus the rush that's running you over, to save you from the minefield plus enable us, protect you from the ash that is sniping into this, etc. Like, if you're protecting the actual engage and getting rid of the minefield, that's fine. But not just the minefield, no. And Blood's coming to much the same conclusion. My experience is players below time and just like to jump into it. Well, sometimes that's a play. Like, you can find situations where, hey, Hammond isn't getting his ult during it, so you'll see situations, even in high ranks, where people go, we won the fight, the opposing team still has a few mines left, let's go get ourselves blown up in the minefield. Not actually back to spawn, but blown up a little so that Anna, Moira, Bap can heal us back up so that they can get ult charge for healing us while the opponent doesn't get ult charge because it's an ult. Yeah, there's fun stuff like that, but that's not what you're talking about. Hey, Sulak. As Anna, what is the best moment to sleep Piledriver? Piledriver's movement is pretty predictable. Like, Piledriver's movement is pretty predictable. You can hit them, if you can hit him up here, that's fine, but you usually won't. Usually what you'll end up doing is you'll hit him just before. You'll get good at consistently hitting him. Oh, that can't be the ground. If you can hit him up here, fine, that probably won't happen. If the ground is here, and you can consistently hit him here, that's perfectly fine. That's not that hard to get good at. It's really quite doable with reaction times, etc., just before they hit the ground. But your just before they hit the ground should also be in such a place that if they do hit the ground, you can just wrench down and still hit them. If you need to practice initially with, hey, as my training wheels, I hit the sleep from up here as Anna while they're on the ground. So, like, I'm going to start aiming it before I get slammed up, but I'm going to aim it down knowing I'm going to get slammed up. Like, if that's how needs to be your training wheels to sleep him, and you go, you pile drive, I sleep, and you do pile drive me and I do sleep you, that can be training wheels, but ultimately you're going to get to a point where it's, that ball might be a little high. Let me go like this. Where it's, you pretty consistently catch your sleep on them here or here or something before they've hit the ground. You can do it. It takes practice, but Ball is a very consistent. I mean, he can do his pile drive from different heights, but he's very consistent to how far he moves with it, and you can adjust pretty easily during it. Of, oh, I just need to aim a little higher, a little lower. It's a big target. It's a big target that can't really change its fall speed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2.
In terms of, that's to hit the sleep. To start the sleep, you start the sleep as soon as you hear them actually commit to pile drive. Hear or see them commit to the pile drive. As in they've pressed the button, they can't change their mind anymore. That's when you hit the button for it, but then you aim it and land it on them on their way down. Right before they hit the ground. You don't need me to tell you that was a bad adaptive shield. Nor do you need me to tell you that's the wrong engage angle. Nor do you need me to tell you that's the wrong tether. Like, you were just not having a good rollout here. I think you wanted to tether this, not back this, and then if that you were going to roll through, and that roll through could have been reasonable. Not amazing. You see, your team isn't over here. If your team was here, that roll through would be good. Your team is sort of split over here, and this is a less good roll through, less good timing for that. Your team's not really ready to take this fight. You didn't really want to come in here and shoot this from this side. It wasn't terrible, but shooting from this side would have been better, and you definitely didn't want to burn your adaptive shield early. I think you just had a bad rollout moment, and maybe you're mentally recovered now. Maybe. This is fine. Good recovery. Now go left. Yep. Perfect. I don't know why you're shooting at her feet. Sure. Roll again. Better. Oh, leave. That's so much health that you're spending. Ugh. Really? Like, look at this. That's a Reaper. I don't want to get close to a Reaper. I'll fight Reaper from this distance. I won't actually fight Reaper from this distance because his teammates are too close to me, but conceptually I'd fight Reaper from this distance. I'd fight Reaper from this distance as Ball. I'm not going to roll closer to a Reaper. I have full health. I just did this. I wasted my adaptive shield. I leave. And now I have half health and no adaptive shield. And what did I do to Reaper? I cost him 45 health. 50 health. No. Now I'm going to be stuck being out of the fight, not able to take a hard engage, both because I need to go gather up health packs like this one, and because I don't have my adaptive shield. So the opponents can either take a bunch of space on my team, which is probably what they'll do, or they'll force a team fight, and I will have to go in with poor resources and get blown up, or I'll stay out and just not contribute enough. And the right answer, by the way, is to roll around, get health packs, stay out, sort of do that until you have your adaptive shield back, or until you at least have basically full health again, and then do a soft engage, not a hard pile drive engage, but like a roll. If the opponent's team is like this relative to your team and your team is over here, do like a roll through across the back to try to knock someone away, and then take an isolated fight with them, or something along those lines if you can't get your wait long enough for your adaptive shield. But that was bad. Hey, Scott Free, I saw your comment earlier. Good to see you live.
Full speed. Clear impact area.
Why? Okay.
Powering shield. Current status. Securing objective.
Oh no! It's okay, it was to intimidate them.
System initialized.
Your team isn't ready for this. The opponents have control. You only have one teammate in front of you. Ashe is the only teammate in front of you. Your team isn't ready for you to go in. There's no chance you can fight here. The only thing you could maybe justify is I'm trying to do a full-on lightning roll-through just to distract these guys. Not to fight them at all, but just to distract these guys, to try to relieve pressure for Ashe to somehow get out. And that's a tough sell in my book. But this isn't that. You're trying to fight. And now you've dragged your team into a staggerfest. Like, now you've dragged your team into a fight where they're down their Ashe. The opponent, what is that, Reaper? Is going to be back long before your Ashe. The opponent's Reaper is even probably going to be back before your Sigma. Maybe not. You're just dragging your team into a bad fight here. And you did that. You charged on out there and were like, we're going, this is real. We don't want that. The opponents have control of the point. We don't want to fight where we're down. We want to take a fight where it's even or better. We don't want to just rush our way into a fight where we're down and continue this down fight, which is going to continue the opponent rolling up. No?
Activating shield.
There's no pile drive to be had here. Pile drive will get you a little bit more forward distance, a little bit, but you're not close enough. So wait. If you're really good, what you'd do is you'd actually just come pile drive. You just go, hey, I don't have tether. I do have pile drive. Let me roll over here. If Anna sleeps me, no big deal. My Ashe and my Reaper will take care of her. If she doesn't sleep me, I'll just roll into this wall to bounce off of it to hit a pile drive tech, like without using my tether. I will do the into the wall, hit back right as I hit it, jump thing, and then turn that into a big enough jump. You get just big enough jump by doing that to then hit your pile drive. It's a little bit of work. It takes some practice to do that as Hammond, but it is one of the skills that is reproducible enough and reliable enough to be able to go, I want to be able to trigger pile drive without my tether, which is exactly the situation you're in. So I roll into a wall, I get my timing just right for pulling back on my control stick and jumping, and then, right as I sort of hit it, right as I sort of start to roll up it, I can't really describe it any better than that, to get just a little more than your normal jump height. You're not going to get some super jump, but a little more than your normal jump height, and you turn that into a pile drive. And that's fine. That does what you need it to. That slams the Anna. Which is better than this, that didn't hit anyone, that rooted you in place, that apparently tempted you to use your adaptive shield early. Yeah.
Is it hot in here or is it just me?
thought about reloading in the open there. You thought about reloading in a charging Rhines path.
Top speed reached.
Can we please not try to just like face tank the Reaper? What? Okay. That's not quite the angle I'd have taken with my tether, but okay. Right idea, now roll through. Little slow. Again, you don't even want to like start to wait on your reloads here. Don't do this reload stuff, just go ball form. If you're in ball form for the length of time it would take to do a reload, you'll get a reload. So just be in ball form. You're not doing anything as a clunky machine walking around without ammo. The only reason to be in robot form is to use your weapon, and you can't use it when you're reloading, so just be in ball form instead. Minefield. What? Okay, you're gonna let this one go? Fine. Nope. What are we interested in doing? Why are we circling? Why are we circling like... Here we are. You drop your minefield, which is late. You had a better situation earlier, but that's fine. Totally good with this. You have lots of allies here. So now you can take your, hey, I'm going to let loose. I don't need to like anchor the point. I don't need to spin to win to try to stall the point. I can actually ricochet off and go, hey, I'm going to slam into that Reaper. Or I'm going to slam into the Lucio. And you're going to then go past the Reaper. You're not going to stay in the Reaper's range. But if you want to do a quick roll through of the Reaper, yeah, like do a quick knockback to keep the Reaper further away and then continue rolling away. Or go zooming into the Lucio or the Ana. Why are you spinning to win? Why are you spinning to win? Why? You had plenty of point presence on your team. You did not need to go, oh, I'm doing... Why? Excuse me? That. This is not the first time you've done this. This cannot happen. This is your longest cooldown. It's really powerful. And you used it with 0 people in range, like, before entering the fight. And it's not like you had very little health and were scared or something. You had full health. Basically full health. This is not okay. Not okay. Now you could hit your shield. Now you could hit it, and you'd probably get not 300 anymore, but what do you get? 100 plus 275s, or is it just 375s now? I don't remember. But you get way more out of it now.
Victory.
Congrats on the win. Yeah, congrats on the win. So, do I want to change anything? We've got engagement timing. We've got tracking issues. We've got re-entering the fight when we're missing too much. We have tackling Reapers at close range. We have reloading in people's face. We have technically the wall hop tech, but we're definitely not going there. What's going to be most important? I mean, most important is going to be engagement timing. So I don't want you to do everything at once. I just named a bunch of things. I rattled them off. If you go through the video, you can figure out what they are, but that's not what I want you to do. What I want you to do is go, hey, temporal is going to give me 3 things to work on, and I'm going to work on those specific 3 things, one thing at a time. One thing at a time to get better at them. And the first thing is going to be engagement timing. So, especially for the first sort of beginning of an engagement, this really applies for all of your reentries, but especially for the first beginning of an engagement. So, like your team is coming from this side, their team is coming from this side. I want you to pay more attention to where are my teammates? Are my teammates here? Are my teammates here? Are my teammates actually ready? Are their sight lines open? Can they see the opponents? Are they rotating up and close to the enemy? Are they already running at the enemy? Is the enemy out here where they can't retreat? You need to be thinking, if I'm going in and going in hard as ball, I need to make sure that my team is in a place where they can see, shoot at, and force the engage on the enemy. Because while I will make an explosive engage, I'm not going to be able to stay in there forever as ball. So I need to make sure that this explosive engage, this powerful distraction that I'm going to create, maybe it's going to be a roll through slam with my shield, maybe it's just going to be a slam with my shield, anything that like that I'm doing is going to be a powerful distraction that's going to cause lots of opponents like Reaper and McCree and maybe Anna to look at me. And while this is happening, my team needs to be able to fight. Because after I do this, I'm going to have to leave at some point. And when I leave, if I didn't get an elimination, and I can't expect to get eliminations into 1v6s, if I didn't get an elimination with this, then my team is going to be stuck 5v6ing while I'm out getting health packs. So I need to make sure that my team is actually in there when I hit my initial initiation. Like I need to, before I roll in, before I do I'm tethering, I'm swinging around and I'm slamming, I need to make sure I see where my team is and that yes, they are in fact in a place that they can go in. And that is like the single most important skill you can have as a initiation tank, a main tank player, understanding, hey, is my team actually ready for me to make this play? If I make this play, is my team likely to react to my making this play and react quickly? Because if they react slowly, or if it takes them 2 seconds to get there, well, then they're going to be stuck 6v5ing after you're out. And while you may have done some work, you're very unlikely to have eliminated someone if you had to go in 1v6 or 3v6, whatever the case was, when too many of your teammates weren't paying attention. So, like, you have to be looking at, are my teammates ready? Are my teammates here and going forward? Are my teammates here with the sight line open? If my teammates are back here, they're not ready. If my teammates are just sitting behind this, they're not ready. If my teammates are here, they're not ready. So you have to be aware of this. This is the single most important skill, and your version of it is not polished enough yet. So you have to work on that. Ball isn't just a constant 100% uptime hero. He does have to respect engagement timings. He does have to, especially for the beginning of the engagement. I don't mean the beginning of the round. I mean the beginning of the fresh team fights. He has to respect it. Then we get into your re-entries. So this I'm going to treat as a different topic, though in some ways it could just be considered a more advanced level of it, which is if you take a bunch of damage in your engagement, if you have to leave the engagement, your first engage's ball is generally going to be something, maybe a boop and scoop, maybe it's going to be just a roll through, maybe it's just going to be a pile drive. But generally in your first engagement, you're going to have ended up spending your pile drive and your adaptive shield, which is like that or something. You're going to have ended up spending both of those. So it's going to be a minute, not a minute, but it's going to be like 10, 15 seconds before you're ready to engage, and you won't be in there long enough that whole time. So after you've done this, any sort of re-engages that you do are more going to have to be I roll through the edge, like that, to maybe knock someone away from their group and fight them a little, or I'm maybe over here on the outside shooting into someone when the rest of my team is over here. And I'm not engaging as hard. I'm not doing my roll in slam stuff because I can't engage as hard when I don't have my adaptive shield. I also don't have the pal drive, but when I don't have my adaptive shield. So like my second engage, my re-engage in the same team fight might look a little softer. Might be a little more of I'm just going to be a distraction. I'm just going to bait some attention. And I'm trying not to spend health because I'd like to have health. I'd like to have picked up health packs so that I then, shortly thereafter, get to do another hard engage, where I zoom in and maybe use my adaptive shield, do another pile drive, or at least do adaptive shield roll through something that's a little more powerful. But I don't go hard in when I don't have these resources and or when I don't have much health. If I have less than 500 health, less than 450 health, and or I don't have these resources, I'm simply not going in very hard. It's not happening. Maybe if I have a Zarya bubble or something I can get, but we're not looking to go into a group of people when we don't have resources. We are much more distracting to the opponents if we value our own life. If we get out with 200 HP, they constantly have to be thinking about, when is he coming back? He's so annoying. When is he coming back? Where is he? He's alive in our backline somewhere behind us. We have to be aware of that. And that's a distraction to them. That is a distraction to them that will cause them to play worse. So do that. Value your own life more seriously. Don't go in hard for these secondary engages when you haven't gathered up enough health yet, when you haven't gotten your cooldowns yet. Instead, do something a little more passive, like a roll through that just knocks one of them at the edge, or shooting them from an off angle, or even just looking around for health packs the whole time until you have health to go hit your thing. Even doing that is more valuable than going in with 200-300 life and getting blown up. It really is. The third thing I'm going to give you is going to be, just notice anytime that you reload as your little ball with your weapons here. That's just not even, no. Notice when you're reloading and don't do it. Like, immediately cancel your reload into transforming and just kite away, go in circles, go in here, hit a roll through with your tether, whatever the case may be, but do not be doing reloads in ball form. They're not helping you. Literally just playing Ring Around the Rosie with this, and not with your tether, but literally just rolling around in ball form to play Ring Around the Rosie to keep it between you and the enemy would be more valuable than reloading in the enemy's face. You don't need to reload in robot form really, like, ever, unless the situation where you'd reload in robot form would be, I've been hacked by Sombra and I'm actually out of ammo. Okay, I guess you're reloading in robot form. That's pretty much it. There's certainly more things we could get into, but we're not going to. Like, working on these things one at a time will help you, and I really do want you to go one at a time on these. So work on the first thing I gave you, this primary engage thing, and use like 10 to 15% of your brain power to specifically be thinking about that. To go, let me check on where my allies are before I engage, before I do the hard engage to start the fight. Let me check on where they are. Let me think about how that relates to where the opponents are and if they'll be able to follow up. They can, good, I'm going. They can't, no, we won't. And we're going to think about that, and then we're going to do it. And then the next time, we're going to have that same thought. Before we go in, we're going to check. Oh, I see my allies. Okay, I'm good to go. Until this is just second nature to you. That might take 30 games. That might take 10 games. That might take 50 games. That might take 2 games. I don't know. But you're going to have to focus on this a little. It'll take more than 2 games because you need to make this a habit. And then once it becomes a habit, then you get to move on to what we call your secondary engages, where you're more conscious of your resources, your health. You understand better how to take those. And then once that becomes a habit, then you can move on to worrying about your reloads. Your reloads is probably actually easier to fix than these two things, but these two things are so much more important to how you play tank in general, to how you play Overwatch, and will take you so much further as you begin to work on them. So that's what I want you to do. If you have questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. If people are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit. And I really do appreciate that. And let's see or if you are looking to get coaching sessions yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. See what rates look like, what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay. Not going to fight Reaper from the distance. I've got full health. Here we go. Reaper did fix that full health. This poor Hammond soul. I know. The fall off, is that what you're talking about, Smitic? Where they went off the edge? Yeah. Don't listen to this song. Fear the Reaper Plat console ball. It's not your mission to try to counter him. Oh. You can get so many strong roll throughs on this map, especially with the Reaper in play. Hit and run until they get annoyed, then hard engage with your team and they get overwhelmed. Absolutely. Annoyed equals waste resources to not be bothered by you. Yes, that absolutely is true. And I was talking about a hard engage than soft engage style here, but yes, there is you can do the soft engage, you do soft engages, you hold your cooldowns, you do the just bother them type thing, and then you come back in with your pile drive and that after you've split them up, etc. Those are different styles, but that is absolutely valid. He's trying to spin to win. I know, it was painful. He was trying to spin to wave. That's not a big thing, but yes. Yes. This was console, correct. Temporal doesn't like player bad, but when I didn't say this player was bad. I mean, they're at this rank, and so are the rest of the people in this lobby. Um, I don't like it when people get rewarded for the wrong play. Like, I don't like it when people get rewarded for making serious mistakes. Everyone's making mistakes, and you're going to win games when you're making mistakes. That doesn't bother me. I don't like when mistakes, like that flux in the video from yesterday when the Sigma, get things that should have been big mistakes get rewarded heavily. I don't like that specifically. Not because I'm like, oh, I'm so annoyed that you won, but just because it undercuts the teaching moment a little bit. Like, I can be like, hey, this is wrong. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do it this way. And then it sort of gets undercut by, oh, but this time it worked out. And we know if we run the simulation enough times, most times it won't work out and it's the wrong thing to do. But in this case, it did. And it's hard to do that when the reinforcement is going against it. You know, inconsistent reinforcement is dangerous because inconsistent reinforcement is actually how you do the most to get people to do stuff to make them think, oh, I am supposed to use this ult here. I got rewarded for this blossom this one time that I went this one time that I went 1v6. I got rewarded with a 6k and it felt great. And now that's happened. And even though the next 10 times it hasn't, the 20th time I got it 1v5 and that also felt great. And that unfortunately trains people and other animals to go keep doing this thing, and we don't like that. So I don't like it when people get rewarded for doing bad things because we're trying to make them better on this channel. Those hurt him the most. Okay, okay. I don't know how console folks are going to play without aim assist when crossplay comes out. Hopefully they turn it on initially to try. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I thought someone said the upper tier of console was. It is. The upper tier of console and Major Midget has come on this channel and talked a fair bit about that. If you guys want to go back and look at the interview, you can search interviews. You can search Major Midget on the channel. Either of those will find him. We talked about that. The upper echelon of consoles is a lot of Zim users, which is basically they've used an adapter to plug in a mouse and keyboard to make the system believe that they're still using a controller, but they actually have a mouse, and because you have a mouse, that allows you to have more precision, and that's fine. I actually think the solution is probably to make mouse and keyboard more easily usable in Overwatch on console, but I get that is going against the spirit of console in some ways. Of people who are playing on console want to be playing on console. I just don't think that that's tenable. I think the real solution is okay, you're all going to be on mouse and keyboard or better. If you can find something that's better, and I'm not, if you can find a technology that's better than mouse and keyboard, maybe you migrate towards that. Mouse and keyboard might be the king right now. It doesn't have to be forever. Okay. Zimmer native, yeah. Temporal will hate my games. I'm frequently rewarded for my bad plays. Resulting is the worst. What guys actually want? Yeah, both is good. Both is good. Okay. Okay. I think that's going to do it. I'll leave it here. If you guys have any more questions, throw them up here. Remember, if you guys want to ask questions live and you're watching this as a VOD, the best way to do that is to, in the Discord, you can go to the Get Notifications channel, and from there you can react to get pings when I go live for these streams. And that means you can be here to ask questions, I can answer them, things can be cool. You should check it out. Mouse and keyboard will be phased out by motion controls when you just reach your weapon to a choke and fire blindly without exposing yourself. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, there is the possibility for something better replacing it, and that might make sense. That said, you fix that sort of gameplay design issue by actually going back to, okay, people are going to have limited ammo again. Well, modern Overwatch has unlimited ammo, but that's a gameplay decision. If we were using controls that allowed us to peek around a wall and shoot around a wall without actually exposing ourselves, but we couldn't see when we did that. Well, you would fix that issue in some ways with the gameplay design of, okay, well, we're going to give you limited ammo again, and you have to go get ammo packs, and yeah. Controller, less than gyro, less than mouse, less than Siri voice commands. Siri, eliminate ball. uh, I just got here, so I don't know if you talked about it, but huge congrats to Spilo for his London position. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Definitely happy for Spilo there. Spilo, for those of you that don't know, we talked about it a little bit in the Discord, did get assistant coach position with the London Spitfire, which is great for him. So we're gonna go steal all his viewers since he's only gonna stream like 1 day a week now. No. It really is great for him. He's wanted that for a long time. That was something that he's been working for, been grinding for. He retired but was still able to stay in the scene and go do that. So definitely really happy for him. And if you guys don't know who Spilo is, he's a coach I've worked with multiple times. We're good friends, and you can definitely go check out his YouTube channel is Stormcrow Productions, and on Twitch I think he is Spilo, Coach Spilo. I forget. No, no. Spilo and I have worked together, but we work together in the Overwatch scene. We have both done martial arts instruction, and we've both done Overwatch instruction, but I mean, we live in very different parts of the country, but we both did, uh, while I've taught martial arts, and I think he's probably taught martial arts more recently than me, those were very separated. We didn't even know each other when I was teaching martial arts, for example, and we'd both started coaching Overwatch, obviously, before we met each other. So I might have taught him a few things about Overwatch, and I'm sure he taught me a couple things about Overwatch as well, but definitely didn't teach him anything about, well, didn't teach him anything meaningful about martial arts. Yeah. Does MMA transfer to Overwatch? I mean, everything transfers to everything a little bit. Everything transfers to everything a little bit. I think what you're probably getting at is, does like coaching MMA transfer to Overwatch? Coaching transfers to coaching in some ways. Yeah. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it absolutely matters how you think about stuff, how you, okay, well, what makes sense, what can you do, that stuff matters. How you think about when you're working against another human mind, all that stuff transfers. We'd be significantly different weight classes. Like, we would be significantly different weight classes. uh okay. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else. Once again, congrats to Spilo. That's really cool for him. But we're gonna go ahead and call it here. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.